Good evening, World Wide Web. Welcome back to my stock channel. We have a little video tutorial and advisory on options and how to trade them, how to pick the best one, how to help you make your decisions on which one's a better value and which one is going to move better, which one's going to make you the most money. Been a scientist on this topic now for years, and I think I've learned a lot. What is an option? I'm going to start out talking about call options, just to keep it simple. A stock is, in this case, Carnival Cruise Lines is $12.18 right now. That's the price of the stock. An option gives me the option to buy that stock in the future at a particular price. Let's just say $12. I want to buy it in the future from now for $12. It's already $12.18, so obviously if I buy it in the future for $12, I'm going to put 18 cents or so in my pocket, plus the value of the option, and that's usually dependent on the value of the option in total and the amount of time remaining on the option. The more time an option has left on it for it to develop, for it to come to fruition, the more it's going to be worth. We're going to start out by looking at the price of Carnival Cruise Lines, $12.18. So we know that $12 is in the money. I'm pointing at it right here with the mouse. The $12, it's lit up. The cost of this option is 41 cents. The $11.50 option is right behind it. That's even more in the money. That's worth 83 cents. Then we got the $11 option behind it. It's worth $1.26. It's even more in the money. It's in the money $1.26. So it's actually worth more at this level than it is at $12.18. Because if you were forced to buy this, if you're able to buy this thing at 11, like right now, you could sell it. Well, you'd pay 126 for it. And you could sell it for 126 right now, and the value of the stock is $12.18, so you'd actually get the $1.26 plus the 11, which would be $12.26, which is just a little bit more. The reason why it seems like it's misvalued like that is this one has 6 days to go. It could fall back down and end up expiring worthless. It could fall back below 11 within 1 week, and this thing's not worth anything. So it loses a little bit of favor because of the possibility of that happening. Things can go up, things can come down, and these prices usually reflect the possibilities of both happening, or at least the public sentiment involved in it. Now, this $12.50 option is not in the money yet. It's called out of the money, OTM, and in the money, ITM. The $12 option is in the money. The $12.50 is not in the money. Because it's not in the money, it's cheaper. It's like 18 cents. The price of Carnival Cruise Lines needs to go up to $12.50 to put this one in the money. If this one got in the money like immediately, let's just say, it just launched up to there, this 18 cents would turn into about 41 cents if it's a week out. Hope that makes sense. If you bought the 13 option, it's only 8 cents. Remember, it expires in a week, so what are the odds of Carnival going up to $13 in a week from $12.18? It would have to go up 82 cents in 1 week. It could happen. You could turn your 8 cents into 41 cents. You would quadruple your money if that happened. That's a pretty bold bet. Then as you get even cheaper, the $14 option that expires in 1 week is only 3 cents. And that's kind of the bottom. You won't see many. You can see more. We can find more, but they're all going to be around 3 cents or 2 cents. That's kind of the bottom. People like to play them. They like to buy in the money options very often. For starters, I wouldn't recommend ever doing anything for 6 days unless it's a some event that's happening, like an earnings report, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on it, but you want to take advantage of the big thing that you think is going to happen. That might be a good reason to do a 1 week. But if you want to play it smart and safe, you make just as much money or more money. Well, actually, you probably make more profit on a short one if you were just doing a short play. But even on a short play, I like to do a long option, because if I don't get what I expect to have happen, I still got plenty of time for something good to happen so I can get out of it nicely and not lose my money. So 41 cents for the in the money, 18 cents for the out of the money. That's in 6 days. Let's take a look at this in 13 days, in 2 weeks. Whoa, we went for a shifty shift here. In 2 weeks, now we got the $12. Instead of being worth 41 cents, it's worth 55 cents. Because we got 2 weeks to go here. It's got a better chance on puckering up even further. It's got a larger time value on it, bringing it up to 55. The third $13 one is now 15 cents instead of 8 cents. The $14 one is now 4 cents instead of 3 cents. Now let's go out just to give you another example, almost a month. This one's out a month. You're looking at 90 cents for the in the money option. Now keep in mind, in the next month, this thing could go down, fall. If it finishes the month below $12, it's worthless. If it finishes as above, you have the right to buy it at $12. But nobody ever usually does that. They usually sell the option before it comes to the expiration date, and your full profit is reflected if you've achieved your passing of the strike price by more than $1 or so. Usually your winnings start to get reflected penny for penny, or better even in some cases. But the $12 one is 90 cents, the $13 one is 47 cents. Now we're going to go out even further. Let's go out 48 days. What the heck? Now we're looking at $1.10 per share at the $12. That's the in the money price. $13, 65 cents, $14, 36 cents, the $16 one, 10 cents. This one is in July, which is right after an earnings report. It's the first one after the earnings report, I believe. So it actually has a higher price structure to it on top of the time element. It has a higher price structure because everybody's already buying, and they have been buying ones that happen to be after earnings reports. People love to buy options that are expiring after an earnings report, because then you have the benefit of getting to watch the earnings report, getting to benefit hopefully from the good news and making the stock go up for you. So that's kind of how it works in a nutshell. It starts out, it's really expensive if you want to buy ones that are deep in the money. Like you can buy the $9 one right now if you want to, and then you probably won't expire worthless, and you'll make most all the money going all the way up. You'll make it penny for penny all the way up from 12 to wherever it goes. If it goes from 12 to 16, that's a $4 jump. If you bought this one here, the $9 one, and then it did that, you'd make $400, because each option is a contract of you buying 100, the option of 100 shares. So one contract is 100 shares worth of option that you have. And if it says $1.10 here, that means $110 is what that contract cost you. It's times 100. If it says 65 cents here, it's $65, 36 is $36, 19 is $19. But if you thought Carnival would be worth more than, say, $14 by the end of the month, by the end of almost 2 months, for 36 cents, you can buy 100 shares contract to buy this thing on that date of July 21st at $14. Really good play. If right now the stock price is at $12.18, right now your options are worth 36. the stock goes up to $13 in the next few days, now you're getting really close to the money. This thing's not worth 36 anymore. It's getting closer to 65. It's getting worth more as you get closer. And then after you pass it, it becomes worth even more. And then the more you pass it, the more it's worth it. Now, if you want to make the most money out of options, you can make penny for penny the increase and do really, really well. And that's by buying in the money options. You could take it. You'll notice if you buy the in the money ones that are $110 here, if it goes up a buck, well, then this one becomes about worth 110. If it goes up a buck instantaneously, so there's only a $35 difference here. Not a very big difference. The gap here, 30 cents. The gap here, what was that? 35, 45 cents. And then the gaps get smaller and smaller as you go. 19, this one's only a 9-cent gap. So as you're in the money, it's usually dollar for dollar, $3.50, $2.55. This one's 85 cents. Hang on, that's 60. Sorry, my math. 45 plus 40s, 85 cents for the dollar on this jump. This one, 75 cents for the dollar on this jump. They reach about 1 for 1, a penny for penny, dollar for dollar, as the price goes up. The price goes up $1, you'll make $100 for each contract that you own. And that's kind of how it works in a nutshell. Strategically speaking, don't do ones that are too short unless you know something's happening or strongly feel like it, or you just straight up feel like gambling. One of my favorite plays is playing options that are far, far, far out of the money. I'm sorry, far, far, far into the future. I like January Carnival options. When you look at January of 2024, now I have 230 days before this thing expires. I'm not sweating it. I can buy anything close to the money. Like right now, it's at, let's say it's $12. I don't have a $12 one. Let's just go with the 14. So as long as it hits $14 within 230 days, which it will, the company's recovering. The stock's going to be a $30, $40, $50 stock again one day soon. Assuming by January it hits $14, that's my bet. It's a January expiration, 3 earning reports away. For $154, I can guarantee myself this thing at $14 in January, on January 19th. As the stock price improves, once it goes from 12.18 to 14, then I'll be in the money. And then when it goes to 15, I'll be $1 in the money. And then I'll be $2 in the money after it hits 16. And when I'm $2 in the money, my 154, when you look at $2 in the money, becomes worth about $2.50 probably, $2.40. It starts to go up quite a bit. There is the further ones out go up less at first during the progression of the price of the stock. Like Carnival just went from $10 to $12.18, and it did that in like 2 weeks. So what happened was I have a ton of options on Carnival, and I have a lot of them that are 13 strikes for January, 14 strikes, 15 strikes, 16 strikes. To most people, those are no-brainers. They carry prices of 92 cents, 118 or $1.18, $1.54, prices like that. These kinds of prices are so high because everyone believes that by January, this is really going to happen. Everyone kind of finds this to be something that's logical, reasonable, and is going to happen. They believe in it. There's more options available that I could show you. this thing goes all the way down the line to $30, $40 for the strike price. So if you wanted to bet on it hitting $30 by January, that's only going to cost you about 5 cents to do that. But from that 5 cents, that thing works itself all the way up in that money. Now you've turned your 5 cents into $2 or $3, which makes you a 60 times multiplier winner. So if you want to play a real long shot, you want to do the price you think it's going to go to by your number of contracts. If it reaches that point, or you can get out in advance, in the money or near the money, you're going to make a hell of a lot of money. The ones you make the most money on are ones that go from outside of the money to inside of the money, or that come a lot closer. The closer it gets, I don't know, let me see the right way to explain this. For 10, let's just say you got $100. You can buy 10 of these 15. Okay, let me start over again. You got $1,000, and you want to do these 14s here. So they're $154 for one contract. You buy yourself, I guess, six contracts for your $1,000. So you got 6 contracts of this at $14. Now this thing here, every time the thing goes up a penny or two, it's going to go up a little, and it just goes up and up and up as you make money. It goes up quickly. It'll be your strongest immediate earner, like the very next morning. But if you have $1,000 and you buy the $16 one, you're only going to pay $92 for it. You can buy 10 of those, maybe even 11 of them. So instead of buying 6 of them, you're buying 11 of them. And because you own more of them, you're controlling more shares of them. And if the price ultimately goes to 16, you'll make a whole hell of a lot of money than if it had gone to 16 and you bought the 14. Because this thing is going to have a multiplication effect because you own more shares. You spent the same $1,000. Now you have 11 of them instead of 6 of them. And because you have 11 of them and 6 of them, by the time you reach end goal, you have almost twice as many shares involved in the game. So you make the money all the way up. You make less money at first, but twice as much money at the end almost. So the further you go out on the options chain, once you hit 3 and 4 cents and 5 cents, and the bottom of the far extreme expectations that anyone would expect would happen, those are the ones that you can watch the stock move, and they don't move. They don't move until they're kind of in play, is what I like to call it. Once they're in play when the stock goes up or down. If it goes down a bunch on you, it'll fall out of play. So I wouldn't do 4 cent, 3 cent, 2 cent options unless you're really, really sure about it. But if you want to have something that's in play and moving along with the stock and becoming more valuable as the stock increases, it's going to increase more quickly if it's further out of the money and in play. So let's just say this thing was worth $12 and went to $16 in reality. The stock went from 12 to 16. I want to own a bunch of January ones that are far, far out. I want to own a bunch of 20s. Why? Because I'm going to pay less for them. They're going to be in play. They're only going to be worth 30 cents probably. So now I'm going to have 30 of them. And as this thing goes to $16, these last couple of dollars they don't even have to hit my strike price because I'm going to sell them really early. I'm not going to wait till January. So if this thing goes from 12 to 16, like in a month or two, I'm going to get out, 4 months early, maybe more. maybe 5 or 6 months early, but I'm going to make more money because I own more options. So yes, as you go further down the food chain here, the options chain, it does butt up less and less for every dollar of improvement. But you own 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times the number of shares. And when you multiply that times these differences, you end up making more money as it goes up if you're a little further out. I've got some Carnival 20s and some 19s for January. They in the recent rally, they doubled in price. The option went from 16 cents to 32 cents. Another one went from 10 cents to 35 cents. And I was like, good Lord, this thing tripled. And yeah, it tripled because I have 3 times more of them. And they went from being worth, 10 cents to 35 cents in a hurry because they got closer to the money because the stock price went from $9 to $12. So they got a lot closer to the money. So instead of being worth 10 cents, now they're worth 35 cents. I tripled my money on one. I doubled my money on another. In that same circumstance, I was also the owner of the $13. It's not even shown on here, but I paid $100 for it. The $13 one I was able to sell for $1.25. I bought it for $100 or $1, $1 on here, which is $100. I was able to sell it for $135 so each. So that was a 35%. We'll call it a 35% win. But the further out ones were actually on a percentage basis more profitable because you can double or triple your money. So the trick with options, if you want the nice multipliers, if you feel like it's going to be moving, is get the ones that are just a little bit more out of the money than the ones that are in the money. Because if you're going to spend dollar for dollar, the same, if you're going to buy less of them, then that destroys the whole experiment. You have to spend the same amount of money and do it one of 2 different ways. If you're going to spend $1,000 and the price is $12 and you think it's going to $20, you don't want the $13 option. You don't want the $11 option. You don't want the $9 option. You got to pay for that. I want the one that's at a discount that is multiplying faster on a percentage gain basis because I have more shares and because with every multiplication, every buck it goes up, it now goes up even more for the next buck, and then it goes up even more for the next buck. And by the time it gets close to the money, it's at full value, and I'm now getting the full-blown, penny for penny, buck for buck all the way through. When I started out only earning 20 cents for every dollar it went up. The next dollar I made 40 cents for every dollar it went up. The next dollar I made 60 cents. Now I'm making $1 for dollar. And I own 5 times as many of them or 10 times as many of them. So it depends on what you think is going to happen. If you just think it's going to go from 12 to 13, and that's all your confidence brings you to, then yeah, you can play it for $1. I guess you could. I'd buy a longer one out just for safety play, just for insurance, and buy one that's just buy the 14 if you think it's going to 14. Because if it gets anywhere close, this thing here, you'll have tons of time left on the clock, and this thing here will be worth at 14. Well, I don't know, it'll be worth a whole heck of a lot more than $1.54. We can be sure at that. Probably something closer to what in the money would look like, which is probably $2.50 for something that's in the money. So the further out of the money you can get, but have it being in play also. If an option isn't worth 8 or 12 or 15 cents or something like that, that means it has moved off of the 3 and 4 cent mark, which is good. It means it has the chance to go up or down. It's not so close to zero that it can't go down anymore. So that means it is in play. I like ones that are 10, 20, 30 cents, a little bit further down in the food chain. Now, it does matter if the public sentiment says, no way, Jose, there's no chance in a million years that the stock will ever get to that price in a year. And in those situations, like on Carnival, everybody's pretty darn sure that this company is going to recover. And that's the reason why there's value up and down the food chain. But on a lot of these $7 or $12 stocks, the real odds of it hitting $20 aren't that good. So the $20 options are probably going to be 4 cents. In Carnival's case, they're like 30 cents or 40 cents or a little bit more because the expectations are different. If you buy natural gas stocks that expire in January, everybody knows it's going to be a cold winter. They know that right now. You're going to pay through the teeth for those options, just because everybody knows that by the end of winter or midwinter, natural gas is going to be through the roof. So it affects the price further out, or when that expectation is to be met or not. And some of them, are mispriced. You see mispricings all the time. All kinds of neat phenomenon. But I've watched a lot of people play options. I've watched a lot of people doing the in the money thing, and then the stock goes down. Next thing you know, they're not in the money, and they've paid full rip for the option. They didn't get any discount for it being out of the money. They didn't realize that if they had just bought it a little out of the money and long term, they could have played it just the same, but with a much better multiplier for when it went up. If it goes up $2 or $3, you're going to go up the $2 or $3, even though it's not showing it on paper. You are going to go up the $2 and $3 because you own 5 times more of them. You own 4 times more of them, and for that reason, mathematically, it works out better. For your first, if you're new to options, pick a company you really, really like. Buy one contract that's in the money. Buy one contract that's $1 up. $1 up from there. Get one more contract, and then just watch them. And then buy a couple that are really far out of the money, but not 5 cents. Get one that's 12 cents, 20 cents. Get something that people perceive as having some value. And if they perceive it having value, that means that it has a public sentiment. There is some sentiment that it might get there. If public sentiment is it's never going to get there, it might not ever going to be able to get there. If it's obvious it's going to get there, you're going to end up paying more for it. That obviousness is reflected in the price. Each one of these is a market upon itself. This is not a reflection of the stock price. After it passes the strike price, then it does become a reflection of the stock price. It goes up your options. You'll earn a penny times 100 for every penny that the stock goes up. So, yeah, you'll earn penny for penny right with it. Once it's a couple of bucks into the strike price, but before it gets a couple of bucks into the strike price, you're not earning dollar for dollar or penny for penny. You're earning 20 cents for $1 or 50 cents for $1. But once it hits that strike, it's dollar for dollar. But even at the 20 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents, if you own 4 or 5 times more of the damn thing, you're actually making more money. You're making a larger percentage of cash. You'll notice it if you own the whole stream of them. Just go ahead and buy a whole string of options. Buy yourself whatever you want, whatever your favorite stock is that you think is going up. Options are cheaper if the price of the stock is cheaper. A $12 stock is going to have reasonably priced options like this. Now, if you go buy Tesla options, you're looking at a $210 company. You're going to pay $500 to control Tesla for a week. It's outrageous. If you wanted to control Tesla for a year, that's going to cost you like $1,000 for 100 contracts. You're going to pretty much pay $10 a share right off the get, and I guess you'll have a whole year for it to get that up $10, and then you're in the money. And the thing goes up and down just like anything else. If you pick an up point and sell it, you'll make money, dollar for dollar. If you buy them in the money, if you buy them out of the money, you'll make even more. But strategically speaking, I like reasonably priced options. Obviously, I'm attracted to Carnival. I like a lot of them. I like a lot of the movies that are coming out this quarter, so I'm thinking about finding the earnings reports for Regal and AMC and doing some options for the earnings report that's coming up in the future that includes the movies that are just coming out right now. They got the new Indiana Jones movie. They got a bunch of other real good ones that are pounding my TV with commercials. So I got a feeling that they're going to have a good quarter. So I might go get some options that are, a few bucks up after the next quarter. Or I might do it right before earnings just because I have that feeling. But other people get that feeling also. So depends on what the situation is. But if you want to know how I like to play options, I like them really far out because the time can be bought. Yeah, you do have to buy the time. You're buying these 230 days. That's part of the price, as I showed you earlier. But you're also, when you're selling it, it's part of the price. So I'm not planning on holding the thing for 230 days, but it gives me that amount of time before I have to sweat and panic and worry about this thing. If I'm only playing it to go to 15 and it's at 12, it doesn't have very far to progress. I might get that in a month. I might get that in 2 months. I'm still going to have, 170 days left on it, which is a lot of time value. Plus, I'll be in the money. Plus, the thing went up the entire time. So I'll do really well on it. But just food for thought. Just know when you buy ones that are a little bit out of the money, they actually make you more money. They make you more money in your pocket as the stock price goes up. Yes, you might end up losing the whole thing if it doesn't hit. But if it's not going there anyhow, or if it loses money, it's a whole hell of a lot better than buying 100 shares of something and watching that get pounded for, 15% or 20% or whatever the beating was that caused you to lose your option. You don't want to lose that on real stocks. I'd rather just lose $154 or lose $200 rather than buy 100 stocks of this for $1,250 and then have it go down, then I'm losing $400 on the thing if it crushes. But if this one crushes, if you buy the option, that's the most you can lose, 214. That's the most you can lose, 154. The most you can lose, 92. If you want to get out to the $20 ones, which are going to hit by January, almost certainly, they're only going to cost you 30 cents. And you'll make an absolute ass load more during the progression. The progression will be slower at first, and then much, much greater later. The gross dollars will be. On a percentage basis, it'll be much better now, and the percentages will go down, but you'll be making more cash because you have more shares. It's tough math. It's a little tough to understand. My only advice would be, unless you know darn well what's happening, do further out. Look for quarters earnings statements and ones that are after earnings statements. If you want to hear that earnings statement before it expires, that could be very important to you. If you know it's happening next week, there's not a reason to buy a bunch of time unless you're uncertain, and we should always be uncertain, so I always like to get the time anyways. But yeah, that's how you play options. You pick which ones are going to go up. You decide how much up they're going to go and how much time it's going to take. And as long as it goes up a little bit, you're going to make a lot of money as long as you got a lot of time on the clock. You go give yourself 6 days on the clock, you're just asking to lose all of your money. I got a friend that loses all of his money every other week, and then every other week he wins. And it's like a big waste of time and a push. He does in the money options, and then he doubles his money in 1 week, and it's fantastic. But then he loses 100% of it the next week, and that's not fantastic. He's going nowhere with it, and that's the reason why, is he keeps buying these 1 week options. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm just betting it to go up or down. I'm like, you're doing coin flips for money. You might as well do an educated approach on this, If I get this thing at 11, or I get this thing at 92, I just need it to go, and the stock is only worth $12, and I paid 92 cents for the $16 option. I just needed to go to $13, and I just made a shitload. Now this thing's not worth 92. Now it's worth $1.18. The thing goes up $2, it's worth $1.54. Now I've made 54 plus 8 cents. I've made whatever that is, 62 cents. I made 62 cents on a 92-cent investment. I got $1.54 for each one that I bought now. That's just with a $2 improvement without sweating. You left yourself lots of runway, lots of safety. You gave yourself 230 days for it to have a valid value. Unless it crashes and destroys itself, it will have some kind of a value. And as soon as it gets better, you'll notice that the price goes up. And the faster it happens, obviously, the better, because then you'll have more time on it when you sell it. But I hope that kind of explains a call option strategy and whether you should do ones that are in the money or out of the money and how far out you should go. I hope we covered a couple of those concepts and somehow you absorbed it. The put options are for people that think it's going to go down. If you think it's going to go down to $7.50 in 1 week, that's going to cost, or by January, if you think it's going to go down to $7.50, that's 44 cents a share. Of course, you can only make whatever it is, $12 to $7.50. So that most, it's a $5.50 shift. You might make, this might be worth $3 if it hit. I don't even think this would be in the realm of possibility, but it's still available for sale. And they all are. These are for people that sell options here. If you own 100 shares of Carnival Cruise Line, this is the price that you can sell to people. If you wanted to sell your 230-day option for the, let's just say you own it at $12, and you say, you know what, I'd sell that thing for $15. You can sell a covered call for $113, put the $113 in your pocket, but you have to agree to sell it for $15 in January. If somebody wants to, if it hits that number, it's gone from your account. If it's worth 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever it's worth in January, you're only going to get 15, which might be fine with you because you made $3 on it, plus you got your $113. So you did pretty good. You guaranteed yourself a profit. And if it doesn't hit 15, you get to just do this again. You get to sell another $113 one. So some people just sell these covered calls and hope they don't hit all the time. Or if you think something's going to happen, sell a covered call to the person that is betting on the opposite of it. I don't know. They're just so interesting. I'd recommend getting into it. I'd recommend playing around with it. And I would recommend buying an array of different options at different strike prices. Get further out. October is 2 earnings reports out. That's right here. You'll notice the prices are a lot cheaper because there's the time element has gone away. You got a whole quarter lost here, but now it's only 99 cents for the $14 option. Is this going to hit 14 by October? Absolutely. It's going to hit 14 by next month. Earnings report comes out and Carnival's doing great. It might hit 15. So, but for 99 cents, you can lock it up for 3 quarters. $99. You can lock up 100 shares for 3 quarters and be in on it at $14 a share and get all the surplus off of it. You sell it on any good day that you want. Soon it hits a new high somewhere. If it goes from 12 to 15 or 16 and you get all excited and you dump it, you can make a buttload of money because you'll have a lot more of them. If you're paying $100 a share, that's a whole lot better than, well, what's this one here? 184. So you get like double the amount of shares almost. And on a percentage wise, it'll actually, you'll make more money. But learning for yourself is key in this one to really develop some strategies. That's why they want people, before they get approved for options, to understand them a little bit. Understand how they go up and down, understand what you're messing with, understand the value of time, understand which ones are gambling and which ones aren't. These long-term time element ones, I don't feel very risky with this at all. I guess they would be risky if Carnival just froze and didn't do anything for a year, but I don't see that happening once. But if it was a legitimately shitty company, that could very well happen. But you know what? I'd much rather that happen this way than happen with me buying 100 shares of it for $1,200 than finding out that they were a generally shitty company and having it being worth $700. Now I just lost myself $500. I could have controlled the whole thing for $71. So you can see the value of options. I could have controlled it to January or October for $71 at the 15 strike price. And to me, that's plenty of time. That's the right price. I was going to get impatient with it by then anyhow. If it didn't go anywhere by October, I'd be out of that damn thing. I'd have freaked out and ran. So I said, yeah, this thing's a piece of shit. And I would have gotten out. I would have gotten out a loser. And that happens to a lot of people. But in this case, the time's on your side. You gave yourself a little bit of time. And you got something that was close to the money, but not too far from the money, and definitely not at the bottom of the food chain. Stay within reason. Stay with ones that are moving up and down on a daily basis with the price, and take a look at the percentages that they're moving each day. They don't have charts in some cases, so you'll have to make notes or buy them, and then you can just watch their progress daily. You could say, oh, wow, we're up 50 cents on Carnival, and my 16s are outperforming my $13 strike prices, by double. You'll just be like, oh, my God, why is this happening? And it's because the percentages are more because you have more shares than there is a gap in the number, in the amount of it paying per dollar. So it's a wacky, wacky world. But check out options. It's a great way. I think it's safer than buying stocks, to be honest with you. People call it super risky. But when you do one that's a year out or 2 years out, you can go really far out with these things. And to control 100 shares with a limited downside and an unlimited upside is a very appealing potential, or very, very appealing to me personally. I feel like I found the stock market all over again. When I started doing options, it just opened up a whole new Pandora's box of wonder. Now I'm looking for 10 to 1 and 5 to 1 and 20 to 1 plays. And before I was looking for 10%. Now I'm looking for 10 times. So it just changes your mentality a lot about things and the way they work. And the people that make money in stocks, they're doing it on options. They're not doing it on the shares. Warren Buffett, when he was buying stocks all those years, no, he was buying options. So are all the big wigs. So are all the smart players. If you're not in the option game, it's the time. Click a few buttons, get approved. It's very easy. You can sell covered calls, you can sell options, but if you own the underlying shares, or you can start buying options. Get some cheap ones that you believe in. Grab a few Carnival Cruise Line ones for $20 for one contract for $20, and just watch it. Get one that's in January for $20, and just watch it go up every time Carnival goes up, and hang on to it till like October. And however high it goes by October, then dump out of it. And you'll be like, wow, I just turned my $20 into $300, or into $200, or into $100. You'll come to some conclusion that you multiplied your money times 10 or 5 or whatever it is, and you'll learn a lot about the options game, and you'll learn how to make money in it. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. I did the best I could. This is a really hard concept to get your brain around, but I wanted this video to cover more on how to make the most money out of the options, not just necessarily how to play them, but I tried to make a combo video, so please forgive me if I got anything wrong. Have a wonderful day. Please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.